Welcome to Ab Immemorabile, from Time Beyond Memory. I'm Drake.
And I'm Holly. Where ancient wisdom meets modern minds.
Brought to you by the most ancient anamnetic order of Trikala, for seekers everywhere. Whether you're walking with us or simply curious about the path.
Each episode, we explore the hidden patterns that connect philosophy, consciousness, and human transformation.
Drawing from traditions east and west, old and new, familiar and forgotten.
Because some truths exist outside of time, waiting to be remembered, not learned.
On this episode, we're exploring an ancient Buddhist vision that might just contain the secret architecture of reality itself. A cosmic web where every point contains every other point, where you are literally reflected in everything and everything in you.
Drake, I've been sitting with this image all week and I can't shake it. Picture an infinite net stretching in all directions.
Indra's net.
Exactly. And at every intersection, there's a perfectly polished jewel. But here's the bit that breaks my brain. Each jewel reflects all the other jewels. And since those jewels are also reflecting everything,
You get infinite recursion. Reflections of reflections of reflections. Going on forever. It's like standing between two mirrors, except in every possible direction simultaneously.
when I first encountered this image from the Avatamsaka Sutra, the flower ornament scripture, I thought it was just beautiful poetry. But the more I dig into it, the more I realize the ancient Buddhist philosophers were describing something profound about the nature of reality itself.
The Chinese Huayan school built an entire philosophical system around this metaphor. They called it the mutual interpenetration of all phenomena. Nothing exists independently. Everything arises through its relationships with everything else.
Which sounds abstract until you really think about it. Take yourself, for instance. Where do you end and the world begins?
That's the question, isn't it? We think we're these discrete, bounded individuals, but
But the oxygen you're breathing was just inside a tree. The calcium in your bones was once in a star. The thoughts you're thinking emerged from conversations, books, experiences that involve countless other beings.
the Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh has this wonderful word for this: interbeing. He'll hold up a piece of paper and say, "Can you see the cloud in this paper?"
I love that teaching, because without the cloud, there's no rain. Without rain, no trees. Without trees, no paper. The paper literally is with the cloud.
And with the sun that evaporated the water, and the logger who cut the tree, and their ancestors who gave them life, and the food that sustained them.
Suddenly, this simple piece of paper contains the entire universe. Which brings us to something rather extraordinary. This ancient Buddhist vision seems to have anticipated what modern physics is discovering about the nature of reality.
You're thinking of quantum entanglement.
Precisely, when two particles become entangled, they remain connected regardless of the distance between them. Change one and the other responds instantly. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance because it so troubled him.
But it's real. It's been proven experimentally over and over. And it suggests that at the quantum level, the universe isn't made of separate things interacting. It's more like one thing appearing as many.
Which is exactly what Indra's net describes. Each jewel isn't just connected to the others, it contains them. The whole is present in every part.
There's something in systems theory called emergence, where the whole displays properties that none of the individual parts possess, like consciousness emerging from neurons or life from chemistry.
But Indra's net suggests something even more radical, that the parts and whole aren't actually separate. It's not that consciousness emerges from neurons, it's that neurons and consciousness are different faces of the same jewel.
This connects to the holographic principle in physics, doesn't it? The idea that all the information about a volume of space can be encoded on its boundary, like how a hologram contains the whole image in every fragment.
Exactly. Break a holographic plate in half, and each piece still contains the entire image, just at lower resolution. It's Indra's net again, the whole reflected in every part. Some physicists think our entire universe might be holographic, with all the information about the interior encoded on some cosmic boundary.
Which would mean that in a very real sense, you contain information about the entire universe. You're not in the universe, you're a localized expression of it.
This is where it gets practical, though. Because if this is true, if we really are interconnected at this fundamental level, then everything we do matters. Every action ripples through the entire net.
The deep ecologists picked up on this. They argue that environmental destruction is essentially self-destruction because there is no real separation between self and environment.
Arne Naess, who coined the term deep ecology, talked about expanding our sense of self to include the entire ecosystem. Not metaphorically, but as a lived reality.
It changes everything, doesn't it? If you experience yourself as the forest, you can't clear-cut it without feeling the wound. If you are the river, pollution becomes self-poisoning.
But here's what I find most intriguing. This isn't just about our connection to nature. Indra's net suggests we're reflecting and reflected in other people too. Your consciousness isn't separate from mine. We're different facets of the same jeweled net.
Which explains something I've always wondered about: how ideas seem to arise independently in different places at the same time. Darwin and Wallace with evolution, Leibniz and Newton with calculus.
Or how social movements suddenly reach tipping points, as if consciousness itself is evolving. Maybe these aren't coincidences. Maybe when one jewel brightens, it literally illuminates all the others.
You know, the Avatamsaka Sutra describes something remarkable. It says that in a single atom, there are countless Buddha fields, and in each Buddha field, countless atoms, each containing countless Buddha fields.
Infinite depth at every point. It reminds me of those Mandelbrot sets, where you can zoom in forever and keep finding the same patterns at every scale.
Fractals. Nature loves fractals. Coastlines, clouds, trees, blood vessels. The same patterns repeating at different scales. Maybe consciousness itself is fractal, with the same structure appearing from the quantum to the cosmic level.
Which would mean that understanding yourself deeply enough would be understanding the universe. The microcosm really would contain the macrocosm.
This is what the ancient teaching meant by as above, so below. Not just similarity, but identity. The patterns of the cosmos are the patterns of consciousness because they're the same patterns viewed at different scales.
There's a practice in some Buddhist traditions where you meditate on Indra's net. You visualize yourself as one of the jewels, reflecting and reflected in all the others. Students report profound shifts in consciousness, suddenly feeling themselves in everything and everything in themselves.
It dissolves the illusion of separation without losing the beauty of distinction. You're still you, a unique jewel, but you're also everyone and everything else.
I think this is what mystics throughout history have been pointing to when they talk about unity consciousness. Not a bland sameness, but a recognition that diversity and unity aren't opposites. They're complementary aspects of the same reality.
Like a symphony, each instrument plays its unique part, but they're all participating in the same music. The violin doesn't become the cello, but they're united in the performance.
And just as a symphony requires each instrument to play its part, maybe the universe requires each of us to be fully ourselves. Your uniqueness isn't separate from the whole. It's how the whole expresses itself in your particular location in the net.
This has profound implications for ethics too. If we're all reflections of each other, then what I do to you, I literally do to myself. Not in some future karmic sense, but right now, in this moment.
The golden rule isn't just good advice, it's a description of reality. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, because others are you, experiencing itself from a different vantage point.
This might explain empathy and compassion. They're not learned behaviors, they're recognitions. When you see someone suffering, you're recognizing your own suffering reflected in another jewel.
Which means developing compassion isn't about being nice. It's about seeing clearly. The more clearly you see the interconnections, the more naturally compassion arises.
The Hawaiian philosophers had this beautiful teaching called the mutual identity and mutual intercausality. Everything is both cause and effect of everything else. The universe is a vast web of mutual causation.
So, asking what caused this is like asking what caused the web? Every thread supports every other thread. Pull one, and the entire structure responds.
Modern chaos theory shows this too. The butterfly effect. A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil can theoretically cause a tornado in Texas. Tiny changes cascade through interconnected systems in unpredictable ways.
But Indra's net suggests it's even more immediate than that. The butterfly doesn't cause the tornado through a chain of events. They're both expressions of the same underlying pattern, playing out across scale and time.
I keep coming back to the practical implications. If this is true, if we really are this interconnected, how should we live?
I think it calls for a kind of radical responsibility. Every thought, word, and action ripples through the entire net. You're not just creating your own reality, you're participating in the creation of everyone's reality.
But also radical empowerment. If you're connected to everything, then you have access to the wisdom and strength of the entire net. You're never truly alone or powerless.
The order teaches something similar, that when you transform yourself, you're not just changing one jewel. You're changing the quality of light that reflects through the entire net.
Individual awakening as collective awakening. Maybe that's why throughout history, single individuals have been able to shift entire civilizations. They changed their jewel so profoundly that it transformed the reflections everywhere.
Buddha under the Bodhi tree, not just gaining personal enlightenment, but illuminating a path for billions. One jewel brightening, and suddenly new patterns of light become possible throughout the net.
Or consider how reading a book, just black marks on white paper, can fundamentally change who you are. The author's consciousness, crystallized in words, becomes part of your consciousness. The jewels reflecting each other across time and space through the medium of language.
That's happening right now, isn't it? Our words creating patterns in the consciousness of everyone listening, their jewels reflecting our reflections, adding their own light, passing it on.
An endless circulation of wisdom through the net, which brings up something profound. If all information is present in every point, then in theory, you could access any knowledge, any experience, any wisdom, just by going deep enough into your own jewel.
That's what meditation masters have always claimed, that if you go deep enough into consciousness, you find not nothingness but everythingness. The entire net becomes visible from the vantage point of a single jewel.
You know what strikes me? Modern science keeps discovering what mystics have been saying for millennia. Not because the mystics were scientifically ahead of their time, but because they were exploring the same reality from the inside that science explores from the outside.
Two approaches to the same truth. Science maps the external reflections. Mysticism explores the internal experience of being a jewel in the net.
And maybe we need both. Science shows us the mechanics of interconnection, quantum entanglement, systems theory, ecology. Mysticism shows us how to experience and embody it.
Because knowing about Indra's net intellectually is one thing. Experiencing yourself as a jewel in that net is something else entirely.
It changes how you move through the world. Suddenly caring for others isn't altruism. It's enlightened self-interest. Protecting the environment isn't about saving something external. It's about preserving your extended body.
And perhaps most beautifully, it means that your awakening isn't just for you. Every step you take toward greater consciousness brightens the entire net. Your personal practice becomes a service to all beings.
No wonder the Bodhisattva vows to save all beings before entering nirvana. From the perspective of Indra's net, you can't fully awaken unless all beings awaken, because all beings are reflections of your own consciousness.
We're all in this together, literally. Not as separate beings choosing to cooperate, but as facets of a single jeweled reality, remembering our true nature.
So here's the question I'm left with. If you knew, really knew, that everything you did rippled through an infinite net of consciousness, how would you live differently?
And perhaps more importantly, what's stopping you from living that way now? Because whether or not you believe in Indra's net, we know scientifically that we're interconnected in countless ways. Our actions do ripple outward. We are part of a larger whole.
Maybe the first step is just paying attention to the reflections. Notice how your mood affects others. See how nature responds to your presence. Feel the ways you're connected to everything around you.
Start with one jewel, maybe the person right in front of you, and really see how you're reflected in them and them in you. Let that recognition expand naturally.
Because once you start seeing the net, you can't unsee it. The illusion of separation begins to dissolve, not through effort, but through clear seeing.
And in that dissolution, something extraordinary emerges. Not loss of self, but expansion of self. You don't disappear into the net, you discover that you are the net, experiencing itself from a particular point of view.
Which is perhaps the deepest teaching of Indra's net. You're not a separate being trying to connect with others. You're the universe discovering itself through the miracle of apparent separation and return.
Every jewel, a unique perspective on the same infinite reality. Every reflection, a new way for consciousness to know itself.
And that's the gift we offer each other. New reflections, new angles of vision. Through your eyes, I see aspects of myself I could never see alone. Through our connection, new possibilities emerge that neither of us could manifest separately.
Perhaps that's what love really is. Recognizing yourself in another so clearly that the boundaries dissolve. Not losing yourself, but finding yourself reflected infinitely.
And if that's true, then the path to enlightenment isn't about transcending the world, but about seeing it clearly. Seeing the net for what it is, jewels reflecting jewels, light upon light, consciousness knowing itself through infinite expressions. Thank you for joining us for this exploration.
Ab immemorabili, from time beyond memory.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep growing.
And remember, the wisdom you seek has always been within you.
You're not learning it.
You're remembering it.